That was back there.
Sorry. I'm having problems with my hair and my microphone. All right. It looked like my kids had put a space background on, but I think I've got that out of the way. Let me make this big. All right. Well, it's election day. I'm going to adjust this a little bit more. So it'll be an interesting day. I think everyone's, there's lots of uncertainty about how things will turn out. But I thought we would just do kind of a opening practice today. And we'll end with a loving kindness meditation, either laying down or seated. But we'll start by standing up. We'll center standing up today. So just kind of find a pretty natural stance. Work on having your feet parallel with each other and just about sitting bone distance apart, just a comfortable stance. Close your eyes. And just feel your breath. So you can find some rocks forward and back. And then maybe from side to side, just little tiny sways with your eyes closed, just to kind of feel yourself balanced. And then maybe kind of lean around in circles, one direction and then the other. Feeling the responsiveness of your feet on the floor, just kind of checking in with your body first thing in the morning. And then find stillness. See if you can find equal balance from one foot to the other. Feel your big toe ball mound and your pinky toe ball mound both grounded into the floor, and then let some weight fall into the center of each of your heels. So let yourself feel balanced on your feet. And then find your pelvis. See if you can balance it just right over your heels. Just feel the weight of your pelvis. And then maybe tuck your pelvis under a little bit and then stick your tailbone back. Just really tiny, subtle movements of your pelvis. Notice what muscles turn on, start to wake up there. Just little pelvic rocks as you're standing, and just feeling that movement from the inside out. And then find the place that's right in between those two extremes, a neutral pelvis. Then let your palms face forward. You can find some activation in your hands. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears and then let your shoulders roll down on your back. You can really draw your shoulder blades together. Let your chest open and then find some containment of your low ribs down to find a neutral spine. Tuck your chin, let the back of your neck get long. And then lengthen the back of your neck to bring your chin parallel with the floor. And then relax through your hands a little bit and just feel yourself. Your ears are stacked over your shoulders. Shoulders are centered over your pelvis. Pelvis centered over your feet. And breathe in through your nose, and you can imagine this breath coming from the soles of your feet all the way up through the crown of your head. And as you exhale, just let yourself ground from the crown of your head all the way into your feet. And just let your awareness energetically follow that whole line of your body with your inhale from the soles of your feet up through the crown of your head. exhale from the crown of your head down into the soles of your feet. And then you can relax your hands more, let your palms face your sides, your body. And then just drop one ear toward a shoulder, come back up to center, drop your other ear toward the other shoulder, and just back and forth here. And then you can start to make circles. So drop an ear to a shoulder and then bring your chin to chest, and then other ear to shoulder. Maybe lift your chin and look up at the ceiling. Just do what feels okay in your neck. Go one direction a couple of times, pretty slow. And then you can switch. After you feel like you're even both directions, just find your head in a neutral position and then turn your chin all the way to the left and then to center and then all the way to the right. Just back and forth. After you've done that 2 times, just come to center and find some rolls of your shoulders. See if you can initiate this from your shoulder blades. And then switch directions after you've gone one way a couple of times. And then just kind of cross your arms in front of you on your shoulders and find a lean over to your left, but not a big lean. We're just going to move through our thoracic spine. So think about lengthening through that right rib cage, crunching through your left rib cage. And then you're going to twist in that direction. So you're going to turn your left shoulder to your left as you're kind of leaning to the left. And then crunch down. But we're just moving through our rib cage spine and then lean over to the right. And then you can find that little tiny twist to the right and then come up. So just try that a couple times. And you can experiment with trying the twist first and then the side bend, or the side bend and the twist. But we're just getting into that thoracic spine, really small movements, but try to use that muscular strength in between your vertebrae to find some space. And after you've gone one direction a few times, just switch. So you'll crunch over to that right side and then twist, and then come forward. It doesn't need to be fancy or perfect. We're just feeling into just the rib cage back. And then release your arms, shake that out, and then tuck your chin. We're going to find a forward fold just sequentially through our spine. So let your chin fold, and then see if you can just start. You can imagine like you've got little fingers walking down your vertebrae, just one vertebrae at a time. Just flex your spine forward. And you don't even have to come into a full forward fold. We're just going to come partway down till you feel like you're bent through all of your vertebrae, and just keep your pelvis upright, and then stack yourself up one vertebrae at a time so your head will come up very last. So do that a couple of times, really mindfully, slowly. And even if, you might notice that there's some parts of your spine you can feel and kind of have some aware access to more than others. And that's just normal. So once you feel like you've kind of got a little bit of flexion in each of those vertebrae, then slowly stack them up. Just do one more of those. And it's funny, for me, this always feels like a lot of work, even though I'm hardly moving. I feel a lot happening in my low belly to get those lumbar vertebrae to try to hinge forward one at a time. Go ahead and come all the way up. Then we'll find some side bends. So just let one hand go down your side and then come back up. Another hand. And you can start to let these get bigger. You can even bend into your knees a little bit. You can let your head and neck get into it and really let yourself just really lengthen. Through one side. Feel like you're even in both directions. Come up to center and step your feet a little wider than hip distance apart and just kind of do some hula hoop actions in your pelvis. Just around. Like you're kind of stirring the pot. Go around and switch directions after you've gone one way a few times. And then come to center. I'm going to balance on my left foot and just let my right foot hover. And I want you just to let this dangling leg dangle, but just let it swing back and forth. So like kind of you're tractioning out some fluidity, just letting it hang there. And then if you want, you can let your swings get a little bit bigger, engaging through that right glute as you swing back, lengthening through your hamstrings as you swing forward. And just let momentum take you any way that feels stable for this standing leg and just warming. And then get those smaller, smaller, and switch. So just ground through that right foot, hover your left. And at first, like this is just kind of really like a dangling string with a bead at the end, you know, just a really pendulum-like motion. So you're just relaxing that swinging leg as it swings forward and back. And then you can get bigger and find some engagement. And your balance may be different from one side to the other. You can always use a wall or something. And you can let your swings get bigger. And then smaller again. And then pause. Shift your weight from side to side and then just find equal standing in both of your feet. Stand so that your big toes touch. You might have a little bit of space in between your heels and bend your knees. I'm going to take my, I'm going to make a C shape with my thumb and my pointer finger and kind of bring my pinky into my kneecap. Okay, here, and we're just going to stir our knees in circles. So you can think about like with your knees, you're doing a circle above your ankles. Your feet may shift a little bit, but we're just kind of holding some stability in our knees. the same time we're loading them in different directions. So just find those circles. Go one way and then you can go the other. We want our knees to be resilient. So loading them in all these directions is really important and helpful for those tissues. And if you have grinding or cracking or anything, that's normal. All right, and then go ahead and come on up. We're going to put our weight into our right foot and just use your left foot as a kickstand behind you with a little bit of weight into it. Find a little bend in that right knee and then just find those knee circles again with that right knee. Just your right knee. And then switch directions. And then find a stable place for your knee. We're just going to bring our left shin to the floor behind that right heel and then sit back. You can sit on your heel or you can sit on the floor. We're going to give our feet a little bit of love. I'm just going to find a position. You can adjust yourself as much as you need to, where I can reach my feet, okay? And I'm just I'm pulling my right toe with my left hand out to the side. Then I'm taking all my other toes, just pulling them out to the side. And I'll take my second toe and pull it over with my big toe. So I'm just pulling space in between my toes. Just do that all the way. And then go back. Once you get to go back, space. Now I push it down, pull all my little toes back. And then I'll gradually add toes. So take my second toe down, middle toe, fourth toe. And now that I've got my pinky, I'm going to switch. Push my pinky down, pull all the others up, and then add a toe pulling down with that pinky. And then plant your foot on the floor. I'm going to come forward onto my left shin now, and I'm going to push down into my big toe and see if I can lift all my little toes. And then switch, bring my little toes down and pick up my big toe. Maybe. It's not wanting to do it right now. Okay, and then just see if you can switch back a few times. Big toe down, little toes up, little toes down, big toes up. There it goes. Sometimes you have to do it in your imagination before your brain and your toes want to work together. It can be kind of silly. All right. And then from here, we're going to bring our fingertips to the floor. If you've got your blocks around, it might be nice to use blocks since this is still early in the practice. I'm putting mine on the highest height. But we're just going to come into a standing forward fold with on our right foot, our right leg down, left leg lifted behind us. And you can have that right knee bent, your left knee bent. Just let yourself fold here. And then left leg meets the right. And just find a fold with as much bend in your knees as you need to. Feel like you're really sending your sitting bones back. And just notice the difference from one side to the other. From right side to left side. And then just roll yourself up to standing. And come on up. And we'll just do those single knee circles with the left. So kickstand your right foot behind you. And then see if you can stir that left knee in circles. And go the other way. And then find a stable place, right shin to the floor. And then sit back. You can sit on your heel. I'm going to bring my bum to the floor. We're just going to find that little footwork here with the left. So I'm pulling my right big toe to the right and then all my little toes to the left. And then I'll grab my second toe and pull it over with my big toe. And then just pull. So I'm pulling space in between my toes. Get to the pinky, and then just work your way back. When I get back to my big toe, I'm going to push my big toe down and pull all my little toes up. And then just keep adding a toe along with that big toe down. Just adding a toe. And then when I get to the pinky, I'll switch, push my pinky down and pull all my other toes back. And then release. Plant my foot down and I'll come down out forward kind of more onto my right shin. I'm going to push my toe down and see if I can lift my little toes up. So pushing my big toe down, energetically lifting my little toes up, and then switching little toes down, big toes up, big toe up. And notice if it's easier to do this on one side than the other. Go back and forth. And then we'll plant into that left foot. You can bring your hands to the floor or to your blocks and just come up into that one-legged standing forward fold. So your right leg's just floating anywhere. You're folding over that left leg. And then bring your right foot to meet your left. Fold there. Find your feet parallel with each other. And then just bend into your knees and come up into a chair pose. And just have your hands at your heart. And try that movement with your toes. Push down into your big toes and lift all your little toes. And then push down into your little toes and lift your big toes. Down into your big toes, lift your little toes. Down into your little toes, lift your big toes. And then ground all of your toes. And see if you can lift your heels. You can let your arms swing back. And then ground your heels, and you can straighten your legs and just find just a half of a forward fold. And we're going to rock back and forth there. So lift your heels and then ground your heels and straighten your legs. You can let your arms kind of swing. So as I lift my heels, my arms come back. As I ground my heels, my arms come forward. Lift my heels, my knees bend. Ground my heels, my knees straighten. And I'm just leaning forward. My torso is just like at 45 degrees, so kind of still in a chair pose position. Just working through your ankles and the whole length of your feet. And now you can kind of change the directions of your feet. So as you let your heels ground, kind of lift your toes and maybe float so the balls of your feet are pointing out. And then you can bend your knees and lift your heels. And you can let your knees track in different directions. Just go slow. So maybe toes in, heels out. So just kind of try kind of moving through your feet and ankles and your knees here in a few different directions. And then find parallel feet. Stand up straight. Inhale and reach high. Push into your heels. Lift right above your pubic bone. Just engage right there and find your gaze up toward the ceiling. Open through the fronts of your armpits. You can let your shoulders raise up toward your ears. Low ribs drop. Just open through the front of your body. And then exhale. Soften your knees. Let yourself fold forward into a forward fold. I'm going to move my blocks out of my way. Inhale, hands to shins. Look forward, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale to step your left foot back into a lunge. Exhale, left knee down. And inhale, reach high. Find some stability here. Just one more breath. And then exhale, hands down. Make your way to a table and find a couple of rounds of cat and cow. Really totally let your belly relax and hang down. Let your pelvic floor completely relax. And then tuck your tailbone under and let yourself round. And go back and forth there. Remembering that sequential flexion of your spine that we did standing. And then come to neutral. Let your hands, just lift your palms. Your forefingers stay down. Thumbs and palms lift. And ground. And then turn them in a different direction. And lift. So kind of like what we were doing with our feet. And just lifting the heels of your hands. Grounding through your forefingers. And just turning in several different ways. And the further your weight back is back over your legs, the further away from you your hands are, the less intense it will be. And now bring your palms face up and your fingers pointing toward each other. So my hands like this. And just bend your elbows and bring your heart towards your hands and then push the floor away from you. The wider your hands are from each other, the more intense the stretch will be when you're at the top. Just kind of get into your shoulders and your wrists here in this direction. And then release. Take your right hand, palm face up, and reach it forward. Lift, and then find a big circle out and around. And when you reach back, lift and flex through that arm as much as you can. And then rotate to swim it back forward. And then your fingers grace the floor. And then just do that 2 more times. Try to keep your rib cage really stable and level. Last time. Make your way back. And switch sides. Right hand down, left hand palm face up. Reach forward. And then you'll have to internally rotate that shoulder to reach back. And then come up as high as you can. All the way around. And try to keep your rib cage as stable as you can. One shoulder may be a totally different experience than the other. Make your way back to your table and then come up to a standing kneel. Tuck your toes and bring your left hand to your sacrum and then just reach your right arm up and find a little back bend here. And then just lead with that your right arm to let it bring you up. Bring your right hand to your sacrum and swim your left arm up. Draw that right elbow in toward the midline as you reach. We're just going to switch back and forth here. And you can let yourself really get a side bend and twist to the side. So as I lift my left arm, I'm turning to my right. As I lift my right arm, I'm turning to the left. And you can let this get even bigger if you want. Instead of reaching for your sacrum, you could reach for a heel. Feel that stability through your pelvis. Back and forth here. And think still about having space for your breath. Let's go back and forth one last time. And then come forward. Back to your hands and knees. And make your way to downward. Actually, step your left foot forward. And we'll just find our low lunge on the other side. So squeeze your heel and your knee toward each other. And then come on up. Engage through that back glute. Reach up. And then hands down. Lift that back knee. And then step back to a downward facing dog. You can pedal your feet out here. Just kind of notice how you're feeling in your body. Breathe in and out of your nose. And then look up at the top of your mat. Just take a walk up to the top of your mat. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale to fold. And inhale all the way up to standing reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale and reach high. We're gonna move a little faster now. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left foot back into a lunge. Exhale, left knee down. Find that engagement towards center to inhale and reach high. Exhale, interlace your fingers behind your back. Inhale, open your heart here. Exhale, release your hands down to frame that right foot. Inhale to a plank. And exhale, just lower yourself all the way to your belly. Untuck your toes. Keep your hands just along the widest part of your chest. Draw your elbows in. Push into your pubic bone. Push into the tops of your feet. And inhale just to lift halfway up. And then exhale, lower. Float your hands up off the floor. So draw your triceps toward the ceiling. And then bring your hands back down. Push into your pubic bone. Lift your heart. Just come up a tiny bit. I'm just going to go back and forth there. See if you can really find some length. So think about pushing your tailbone toward your heels, pushing into the tops of your heels. Float your hands and plant your hands, and then find your little partway lift. Keep your hands where they are. Lift your head and chest, and then lift both legs. Let your legs open as wide as your mat. Come back together, and then lower. We're just going to do that 2 more times. So lift head and chest just a little. Lift both legs. Open your legs. Bring them together, and lower. Lift. Open your legs. Bring them together, and lower. And then push yourself up into a table. And find a puppy pose. Really push your sitting bones toward the floor. Creep your hands out far. Drop your heart toward the floor. Open through the fronts of your armpits, the outer shoulders. And then bring your hands back, tuck your toes. Downward facing dog. Deep breath in and a breath out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale onto your tippy toes, look forward. Exhale, bend your knees, make your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to standing, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, right foot back into a lunge. Exhale that right knee down. Find some engagement. Left heel back, right knee forward to come on up. Reach high. Exhale to interlace your fingers behind your back the unusual way. Start with your elbows bent. Draw your elbows toward each other, and then you can bring your arms towards straight. Open your heart here. And release. Your hands down, lift that back knee, step back into a plank. Lower yourself all the way down. Ground the tops of your feet, and then float your hands back alongside your hips. Okay. And then just let your forehead come to the floor for a second. Push down into your pubic bone. Loop your shoulders up off the floor. And feel like you're high-fiving the ceiling. So palms face up. Really lift your hands up. Lift your gaze forward, but your chest is going to stay low. Now, externally rotate. So your biceps, the eyes of your elbows are going to turn out. And then internally rotate. Biceps are going to face your rib cage. And just go back and forth. Externally rotate. Biceps face away from you. Internally rotate. Biceps face towards you. See if you can maybe lift your arms a little higher. As you externally rotate, internally rotate. Externally rotate, internally rotate. Let's do 2 more. So you can lift your arms a little higher. External, internal, and then lower. You can bring your forehead to the floor or one cheek to the floor. Just kind of release. And then look forward. Push into your pubic bone. Lift both legs. Lift your head and chest. Lift your arms back behind you. And then maybe bring your fingers to interlace. Lift your arms up. Lengthen through the back of your neck. And then release. Bring your other cheek to the floor if you were a cheek to the floor person the first time. And then get ready for another round. Push into your pubic bone, loop your shoulders up, reach your arms back, and then maybe interlace the unusual way. And lengthen. From your toes out through the crown of your head. You can feel like you're squeezing something between your inner thighs and pushing it up toward the ceiling. And find that space in the back of your pelvis. And then release. Hands under your shoulders. Push yourself up to a table. And then find that puppy pose again. Slide your arms forward. Hips high. Chest toward the floor. And then slide your hands back. Tuck your toes. Downward facing dog, hips high. And then lengthen up through your sitting bones and see if you can lift your toes. Whether or not your heels are on the floor, just kind of tap back into that footwork we did at the beginning of class. And then push into your hands, lengthen through your outer armpits. And see if you can find some space for your neck. Shake your head no, nod your head yes. One more breath here. Inhale onto your tippy toes, look forward. And exhale, soften into your knees, take a walk up to the top of your mat. Find those parallel feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way to standing. Reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, reach high. And then exhale, just interlace your hands behind you. Draw your elbows toward each other with bent elbows. And then you can bring your arms towards straight. Just open your chest here. And then soften those front low ribs down. You stay open through your chest. Bend through your knees. And then find a forward fold here. And let gravity help your shoulders come over your head a little more. And then try to keep this space, the same space between your hands and your pelvis as you come up to standing with these clasped hands lifted. Reach up and then release and shake that out. Interlace your fingers in front of you. Push your palms away. Let your upper back really round here. Just find space between your shoulder blades. And then reach high. Release. Hands behind your back with the unusual fold or grasp. And then draw those elbows toward each other. Drop your low ribs down, and then you can extend. And see what space you can find here between your pelvis and your hands. And then soften your knees and fold. Let gravity bring your shoulders up, your arms away from your pelvis. Let your neck be soft. And now, try to maintain that same amount of space between your pelvis and your hands as you come up. And then release. Find that unusual clasp in front of you. Push your palms away. Space between your shoulders. And then reach high. Exhale. Standing forward fold. Just let yourself fold. Find enough softness in your knees that you've got your hamstrings turned on. They're actually engaged as you lengthen. And just pause. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale your left foot back, ground your heel, and set up for warrior one. So you might toe heel that right foot just slightly to the right. Ground through your left heel. Bend into that right knee and just float your hands by your hips for a second. Feel your strength in your lower body. And then come on up. Ground left heel. Lift through your lower belly. Reach your arms high. And then see if you can find that action in your feet that we did earlier. So push into your big toe on that right foot and see if you can lift your little toes. And then switch little toes down, lift your big toe. And go back and forth there a couple times. Little toes, big toe. And then come halfway forward, hands by your hips. Push into that right heel, engage that right outer glute. Float your arms back behind you. And then externally rotate. So palms face out, elbow creases and biceps face out. And then internally rotate. And external and internal. Do that a couple times. Try to lift your arms a little higher behind you. External and internal. And then come upright. Sweep your arms overhead. And then exhale, bring your arms into a cactus. Elbows towards your rib cage. Let your heart open here. And then interlace your fingers behind your back. Draw your elbows toward each other. You can lengthen through those arms. And then find a humble warrior. You can fold and rest on that right thigh or bring your right shoulder down inside your knee. Contain that right outer hip toward the midline of your mat. And then release your hands to the floor. Inhale yourself back to a plank. Exhale, lower all the way down. Just keep your hands by the widest part of your chest. Draw your elbows in, push into the tops of your feet. Inhale to a cobra. Feel like you're dragging your hands back and your heart forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale to table. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Enjoy your breath there. Or child's pose, or hands and knees, or kneeling. Just collect yourself. Inhale onto your tippy toes, look forward. Exhale, bend your knees, make your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to standing, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Take a step back with your right foot and ground that right heel. Set yourself up for warrior one on this side. So you might move that left foot just slightly to the left, just so your feet are hip distance apart. Float your hands back by your hips and really feel yourself grounded into your feet. Use the power of your lower body. Push into that left heel to come upright. And then reach. Push into your little toes, lift that left big toe. And then push your left big toe down, lift your little toes. Just go back and forth there a few times. And then release that work in your feet. Come halfway forward, hands by your hips. Lift. And then palms face out, elbows face, elbow creases faced out. And then switch, internally rotate. And external. And internal. And external. And internal. External. Internal. Turn out, come upright, sweep your arms high. And then exhale, interlace your fingers behind your back with the awkward thumb on top. Draw your elbows toward each other. Bring your arms straight any amount. And then fold into your humble warrior. You can rest on your left thigh. You can bring that left shoulder down inside that left knee. Find some weight in that right heel and draw that left heel, your left outer hip toward the middle of your mat. Release your hands to the floor. Step back into your plank. Lower onto your belly. And float your hands, engage your back body, and then plant your hands again. Inhale into cobra. Or you can lift a little higher, lift your legs up off the floor in upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Table, child's pose, kneeling, whatever your body's calling for. And then bring your knees to the floor. And we'll come to a standing kneel. And we'll find our big heart opening camel pose. Again, you can go back to that fluid leaning and playing here that we did earlier. And just let it be some motion that just feels good in your body. Or you can find a camel that you hold. Just reach your arms up. And then imagine you've got a bar that you're pulling down. Draw your elbows, and it's coming behind your head. Draw your elbows toward your rib cage. And then just plank yourself back. So you're not finding any back bend. You're just leaning straight back. And then really engage your shoulder blades toward each other. And you can lengthen your hands toward your heels. And then maybe push your hips forward to find your back bend. Let yourself just be strong through your glutes. Find space through your lower back. And then go ahead and come all the way up. Untuck your toes and just sit back no matter what you were doing through that. Let your palms face up. Let's do one more round. So we'll enter it that same way, or you can have your hands on your sacrum and just play, or you can just stay with being here on the floor, fingers to the floor, and just opening your heart here. Or come on up. Toes tucked or untucked, and think of inner thighs pushing back. Reach your arms high, and then pull that bar behind your head. Engage your back body. Draw those elbows in toward your rib cage, and then just plank yourself back. So feel the strength through your quads, and then you can bring your arms towards straight. Reach for your heels. Maybe push your hips forward. But find all that engagement through your back body to let your heart open here. Gaze just at the ceiling, and then we'll come on out. Hips to heels, palms face up. And just let yourself feel. And shift your hips to the right. Find a really easy twist. So I'm just sitting on my right hip, and my right toes kind of in the arch of my left foot. Just bring my left hand outside that right knee and twist. Just plant through those right fingers. And just let this twist be pretty easy. Unwind yourself and just shift your hips all the way over to the other side. Right hand outside that left knee, left fingers grounded. And then you can look over your left shoulder. And then unwind. Just swing your legs out in front of you. And see if you can sit tall. Think of that space between your pubic bone and your tailbone being parallel with the floor. Bend your knees as much as you need to make that happen. And then feel like you're dragging your heels back towards you as you let yourself drape over your legs, and then push your heels away from you to lengthen yourself back up. And just find a symmetrical forward fold here. Gonna undo our back bend. Pull yourself forward with your heels and push yourself away with your heels. Your arms can do whatever they want. And this time, find that little bend in your knees. Really feel yourself on the forward part of your sitting bones. If you just really find yourself flexing through your back, lower back, and not hinging at your hips, sit on something so that we can hold our forward fold. Knees bent any amount, so you feel some integrity through your spine. Of course, your spine is going to flex forward, but we want to think of that like even curve through every vertebrae, that every vertebrae is involved, and we're not hinging at one place in our spine. So the hinge part happens at the hips. And then our spine is just a one natural curve. You can think about pushing your inner groin back, kind of spreading through your sitting bones. Stay active through your feet, knees and toes pointed straight up. And then just let yourself breathe. Once you've found a place where you can be long through your spine, let your breath slow down. And think of breathing into those lowest ribs, into your kidneys, and all that space in your lower back. And breathe in and out of your nose and relax your face. And just one more breath here. And then make your way back up. You can just use your hand strength, walk yourself up your legs. And we're going to end with a loving kindness meditation. So you can decide if you want to set yourself up comfortably laying down or if you want to find a seat. So if you're coming down on your back, you can just scoot yourself forward and roll yourself down. Find any support underneath you that you like, a folded blanket under your head, a rolled blanket under your knees. Let yourself get really comfortable. Or find a comfortable seat. And so you can sit tall. And just take a couple more moments to get yourself set up wherever you're headed, onto your back or into your seat. And just let yourself scan through your body and just feel what it feels like to be in your body after the movement, the strength and the mobility and that heart opening that we put ourselves through. And bring your awareness to your feet and feel the texture of the surface underneath them, the temperature of the air surrounding them. And notice them from the inside out. Just the energy there, the aliveness in your feet. And feel your lower legs and knees. Notice their position in space, the texture of your clothing, the pressure of the support underneath you. And bring your awareness to your thighs, your hips, your pelvis. And just feel the grounding quality of that part of your body. Just the earthiness. And just feel your belly. Notice its softness and its support. Feel your rib cage moving with your breath. You might even be able to discern your heartbeat. And feel your shoulders, the length of your arms, your hands. Just notice the quality of the energy in your hands, any aliveness or tingling there, the temperature. Feel your neck, your head, and your face. And just let yourself relax there. And then bring to mind someone that is really easy to love and that you know loves you. You have a really uncomplicated relationship with. It could be a friend, a sibling, a pet, a grandparent. It could be a deity. And just let them come into your awareness. And offer them some thanks. And see them in your mind and wish them well. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy and free. And hear them wish you well. And just feel their sense of love for you, that uncomplicated, open, unconditional love. And let go of that awareness and just let yourself feel that sense of love for yourself. And wish yourself well. May I be at peace. May I be free from suffering. May I be happy and free. May I see myself through the eyes of divine love. And bring to mind someone that you don't know much about, but you see frequently. Maybe a neighbor that you see frequently walking the streets of your neighborhood. Maybe the person at the grocery store that you see checking at the checkout stand. Just bring them into your awareness and wish them well. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy and free. May you see yourself through the eyes of divine love. And bring to mind someone that is difficult for you. It can be someone that you come in contact with frequently. It could be someone in a position of authority that you might feel animosity toward. It could be someone you know in real life or someone you don't even really know personally, but you have strong feelings towards. But look at them through the eyes of that loving kindness, aware. And wish them well. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy and free. May you see yourself through the eyes of divine love. May I see you through the eyes of divine love. Let your circle of awareness expand to encompass all those in your house, and let it get a little bigger. Include your neighbors, those in your community, and just hold them in that sense of kindness, love, that hope for peace, and wish them well. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy and free. May you see yourselves. May I see you through the eyes of divine love. Let that awareness expand to include our nation. We wish us well. May we be at peace. May we be free from suffering. May we be happy and free. May we see each other through the eyes of divine love. And let that awareness just expand as large as it possibly can to encompass the globe and beyond. And just bring one hand over your heart and stack the other hand over it. And just breathe there with that sense of kind, expansive seeing, kindness, love. And feel free to stay here as long as you have time. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. Have a good day, everyone.